right, welcome back to another episode of Bet GPT. This is episode 37. Today we'll be talking NFL, maybe touch on a little college football. It's a little weird now that we don't have a lot of games. I know we have Army, Navy, so we can maybe get into that a bit. We can get everyone caught up on the MLB winter meetings. Spoiler alert, there's not much to get caught up on. The Ohtani waiting game continues. And then we can just talk about, whatever else comes up. So, I guess, do you have any opening remarks, or are you ready to get into the six pack?
Well, I'm watching the Iowa State game live right now, and we're about 10 minutes into the game, and they're already on my nerves. This team, man, this Iowa team sucks. I'm sorry, Bear. Sorry if you're listening. They have 14 points through like the first 10 minutes, and we already know they're not a good defensive team. So another year, same shit.
Do you think that this team, like when I look at this roster, I'm worried about the 3-point scoring. I don't know who's going to make threes for them, or are you more concerned with like rebounding and defense?
I mean, they don't have one all Big Ten caliber player. Like Peyton Sanford is probably your best player. And like he's a nice role guy on a good team.
So it's 24-14 right now, and Sanford has 9 points. Imagine if he had an off shooting night. This one would be.
He was chewing out some teammates and then dribbled down the court and took a heat check. Steph Curry range 3 that wasn't close. So, they don't have that. We're so used to having a Murray brother or a Luka Garza or even like a Wieskamp. There's none of that. It's like a lot of B- players and then a bunch of young kids that maybe shouldn't be playing.
Yeah. We should have an Iowa basketball special. Last year, before we had a podcast, and Slade, I'm kind of going off script right now. You and I put together a list of the top 75 players in Iowa basketball history.
We did.
You remember doing that?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, so maybe we can share that one day on the list. And I'd also like to do another. Maybe we can do some sort of Mount Rushmore, like first team, second team, third team of all bust for the University of Iowa, just recruits that should have been better or, had high expectations.
Are we going to be the biggest haters pod or what? Do an all bust team?
It's going to be the most realistic pod. I mean, Iowa hasn't made a Sweet 16 in the
bust as in
era.
Teams or as in individuals?
Individuals, yeah. We're going to have people coming up to us at weddings, coming up to us or tweeting at us. And
we have too many people that listen to this that might be on that list. We have too many people we're going to encounter that might be on that list. We can't do this.
Okay. All right.
I'm fine with doing an all bust team in terms of like as a team that underachieved, but I'm not calling out individuals.
That'll be I'll save that for a rainy day solo pod for myself. That's fine.
All right. Yep.
All right. Let's get into the plays here. You can just keep us updated on the Iowa game intermittently.
All right.
We'll get your reaction. So, all right. So, our 6-pack, once again, everything's posted on Twitter. It's our pinned tweet, so take a look. We're up 14.01 units. So, unfortunately, we've gone a tiny bit just because we had an Oregon future to win the national title as well as Georgia. So definitely an upset, I guess, in the Georgia game. I mean, Oregon also was, a 10-point favorite against Washington. They weren't necessarily the favorites to win the national title, though, but it kind of sucks to see both our futures ousted. We didn't even get one into the playoff. But
yeah. I was going to say, also, my Heisman plays are pretty much dead. Jaden Daniels is going to win. And his numbers are actually insane. It's just, he's a 3-loss QB. Not his fault, of course. But yeah, so I had like tickets on like the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place finishers, all at crazy good value. But I guess that's just a lesson that having good value only matters if they actually win.
True. Yeah. And with I mean, with Heisman and other season awards, which we can talk about NFL MVP coming up a little bit more, like there's just so much value in season. So, throwing $10 on someone 8-1 who you think's going to go down. Like if you get the top four guys all at 8-1, you're profiting. I'm not necessarily betting futures to try to win like 30 units. If I can bet 3 or 4 guys and just profit a couple units, I think that's a pretty big win for me, at least in terms of my style of betting. So
yeah, like we have our Brock Purdy 17-1 future. Sometimes it's just picking the right hedge. Like I had Bo Nix. I thought I got good value, but I hedged with Penix instead of Daniels, which wasn't the mistake. I also saw that Marvin Harrison Jr. is acting like he might not enter the draft. If he does that, that might be the dumbest decision I've ever heard. I know Ohio State fans are saying they might be able to give him like as much money as like the first year of a rookie deal, but dude, there's guaranteed money like that's more than just 1 year. Yeah, his dad played in the NFL, so he grew up with money, maybe doesn't care as much. But like if you're telling me that you're going to go back to school just to beat Michigan, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
yeah, because what happens if you don't even get a good QB in the portal and then you lose?
Yeah.
Just makes no sense.
Like just because you could be better than them and still lose, like it doesn't make any sense. Michigan's not even going to be as good next year probably if Harbaugh's gone and JJ McCarthy's gone and Blake Corum's gone. Like it's not going to be the same as knocking off like a top 3 Michigan. Like we're talking about probably a step or a tier below, like maybe what Penn State is this year. Like,
yeah, congratulations, you knocked off number 17 Michigan at home.
Like it's just not.
Yeah,
that's silly. I don't believe it. I just think that's funny that he says that.
Yeah, I don't believe it either. And he's in a position where maybe not the first half of his rookie year, but the second half going into his second year, like he's going to be right up there with Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, all those guys, and Tyreek Hill, trying to get 2,000 yards. So it'd be kind of silly for him not to want to be in those conversations. But anyway, so our 6-pack last week, I hit the Niners -2.5. I hit the Rams alt -6.5. I also have the Rams to make the playoffs pending, so that's in decent shape. You hit the Iowa Michigan under 35. Bama Georgia over 54. I think we missed that by 3 points, and then Georgia -5 was also a loss. So overall, it was a positive week. It was a plus 1.24 unit week, and then we lost 1 unit and then 0.25 units. So actually, if we combine our futures, we were down 0.01 units last week. So pretty much an even wash there.
Hey, we'll take it. I felt like I had a really rough weekend. So in hindsight, I guess it wasn't as bad.
But all right, it's time to turn things around though. I'll go ahead and actually, you know what? Let's do you. I feel like we have better luck when you go first with your picks.
All right, so I'm starting it off with, another bread and butter for any gambler out there. The Army Navy under. That game is
what's it at?
28, 27 and a half, 28. I don't really care which one. I'll play it either
under
way.
28. Got it.
Both teams played a slow pace. This game has gone over historically at like some crazy record. I had it off. I can't remember now, but it's like just absurd when these military academies play each other. Both teams are 5-6. Neither team is playing in a bowl game. The weather is supposed to be like pretty dang cold. It's in Foxborough where the Patriots play tonight. I think Army will win the game. They're a 3-point favorite, but I'm taking the under. This kind of is like the cousin of our Iowa underplay. Like it's like the Iowa under that's a staple, and then the cousin of that. It's like a sister city, but this is the cousin play. The military academy under.
Yeah. With this game, I will Venmo you live on air $10 if you can name me one player who's in this game.
I don't know one.
Okay.
You don't need to know a single player. Hell, you don't even need to watch it. That's one of those things you just put it in your account and you just don't even think about it until like the fourth quarter when you check your phone.
Yeah. So That'll be nice to watch. That's the only college football game on this weekend before we go into bowl season. Might be worth it too to maybe do like a bowl preview podcast. It's kind of tough, predicting who's going to play in what game, but that news should be leaking out. So potentially we could do something like that, because I do know I have people reaching out to me about entering a bowl prediction contest, so we could potentially do like a Bet GPT entry and just talk through that.
Yeah, because of the opt-outs, it's hard to know just yet. I'm leaning towards Missouri over Ohio State. I think Ohio State's going to have more guys opt out, so that's part of it. And also, I think Missouri's good. I think Missouri might be the third best team in the SEC.
But the SEC sucks, according to you.
Ohio State's not going to have their best player, probably.
They're not going to have Kyle McCord, their best player.
Or MHJ. You think he's playing in that?
Heck no.
Yeah, I think Ohio State's going to have more guys sit out. That game will mean more to Missouri than it will to Ohio State. Missouri will brag about that for 10 years, and Ohio State, if they win, no one will even remember in a week. So, all right. Anyways, back to the 6-pack. I'm taking the Colts plus 1.5 as underdogs at Cincinnati. I am fading a little bit of what we saw with the Jake Browning game. I think people are overreacting slightly. I told you last week that when you're betting, there's a couple teams that you hate to bet against, and it's the Colts and the Steelers. And I said last week before the weekend, the Colts just win ugly, and it doesn't matter. And what did they do last week against the Titans? They won ugly. The Bengals, there's another week of tape on Jake Browning. They played Monday night, right? So they have less time to prepare. It's in Cincinnati, but it is just the noon kickoff. So you get 1.5. This is going to be a low-scoring game, probably. I'll take it. Minshew is awesome 1 out of every 3 weeks, so you always have that possibility in your back pocket. So I'm on Colts plus 1.5. And then
you mentioned Minshew playing well. Like, he really doesn't even have to play that well. He just can't lose in the game, and they're going to be in it. So
yeah, exactly.
Last play.
And then the last play, I was tempted to go with the Buccaneers versus the Falcons, but then I realized I've already lost that bet like week 2 this year in the 6-pack, so I stopped myself. And then I wanted to bet the Bears plus 3.5 because this was the game they blew a 12-point lead late, and it's at home. Maybe they're a little pissed off at how that game ended, but ultimately, what I've decided to do is I am going to take the Texans minus 3.5 versus the Jets. If you really want to buy 1.5, I think it takes it down to like minus 140. So I'm just going to ride with it. All this controversy about, does Zach Wilson even want to be the starter, basically? I don't know what I believe, but I do know that between those two teams, the only player I really trust is, I guess I trust Garrett Wilson a little bit, but I trust CJ Stroud. I don't think it's going to be a pretty game. I don't think he's going to be out there slinging for 400 yards against that defense, but 3.5, I'll take that.
This is a pretty big test for him. This is his first, true road game outdoors and not great weather.
Mm-hmm. Big Ten QB, though. He's used to it.
Yeah, no doubt. It's just, he's going up against a good NFL defense who, while they're not, I guess, necessarily motivated, I know they still have, guys like Sauce Gardner out there who can make a big difference. So if he throws for 300 yards and a couple touchdowns, I don't think you should be allowed to say he's not a legitimate franchise QB at this point, because he's right there.
Agreed.
So that's why it'd be nice too. Obviously, I'm not a Texans fan, but it seems like all these guys, they get their first taste of the playoffs, and you don't win in your first run. Similar to the Bengals and Joe Burrow. They were right there, but they came up short. Brock Purdy got hurt. That's kind of a different story. Lamar Jackson's had his struggles. So just getting into the playoffs, I think, will be huge for the Texans, just to kind of see that level of what it takes to win a playoff game. And then from here on out, you can actually, have them contend for AFC titles, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, no one expected this from them, so there is a little less pressure on him too. Everything he does at this point is with house money.
Yeah. All right, so let me get into my picks. I hate to be the one to do this, but I will take the Bucks money line since you won't
Okay.
do it. I'm taking the Bucks money line to beat the Falcons. I have it at plus 110, so you can get it somewhere around there in FanDuel or DK. The Falcons are not good. Each team, depending on how this weekend goes, the AFC South could be a three-way tie at 6-7, which is just so gross. I think it's even still possible for the Panthers to win the AFC South, albeit that's not going to happen.
No,
But
they
it's not
are
anymore.
mathematically eliminated. They're the
They
only
got
team.
eliminated this week. Okay.
The only
So much
team.
for that. Okay. So I guess we can talk about the Bears winning the division then, because they're still in it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if they wouldn't have choked that 21-point lead versus the Broncos and a 12-point lead with only a couple minutes left versus the Lions, they'd be like a half game back, which is kind of
crazy
sad.
how that works.
That's how small the margin for error is in the NFL.
Yep.
A bad coach.
It's okay. You want the draft pick, man. You want the draft
true.
pick.
You're right.
All right, next two plays. You know I have to do this. I'm taking the Bills money line against the Chiefs. The Chiefs are one of the most overrated teams in the NFL. Josh Allen coming off a bye. I don't think they're going to lose this game. I don't there's some possibilities where the Bills go undefeated and still don't make the playoffs, so I don't want to bet on them to necessarily do well in the playoffs, but I think they're going to do all they can to try to sneak in. So let me just go through the AFC playoff picture real quick here.
All right.
So not to divert from the six pack, but here's the playoff picture. 1 seed Dolphins, they have Tua as their QB. 2 seed Ravens with Lamar Jackson. 3 seed Jaguars with Trevor Lawrence. I have a question mark because he's a little bit beat up right now. 4 seed Patrick Mahomes. All right, so all good QBs there. Whatever. 5 Steelers, Mitch Trubisky or Kenny Pickett. That's horrible. 6 Joe Flacco or Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Not good. 7 Gardner Minshew, who's a ticking time bomb. 8 CJ Stroud, he's good, but he's also a rookie. 9 Russell Wilson, who went from wash to serviceable. 10 Josh Allen, and 11 Jake Browning. It is just absolutely absurd that this is the case, and I would love for the wild card to play out with the Browns because I'm a fan of them, but then the Bills because of Josh Allen, and then CJ Stroud with the Texans. Because other than that, it is just so bad. And it's sad that the NFL is putting out that product this year, but that's just reality.
I was going to say, if you don't take the Bills this week, then you're a complete fraud.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you at least are a man of your word.
Yeah. Won the Bills.
I told you
betting my own real money.
I told everybody, don't bet on the Chiefs last week. Anything stupid that will happen at Lambeau will happen. It's like playing a baseball game at Coors Field. It is a different sport. It doesn't matter. You just have to take your bullshit and move on. Obviously, this is a much bigger game for the Bills than it is the Chiefs. Is there anybody in the AFC West that's really threatening the Chiefs for a playoff spot? I know they have to worry about like the seeding, but
it's the Broncos who are 2 games back. So I know they split with them in the regular season. I don't think they necessarily have to worry about that though.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't think so. So the Chargers are so far behind.
Chargers are 3 games behind, and I'm really just praying that the Chargers-Bills game on Christmas Eve is like everything that we could possibly want. Looking ahead to that week, we have that on Christmas Eve, and Christmas night we have Ravens against the Niners, which is huge for number 1 seed implication. So super pumped for that one.
Do you have any thoughts on the what's it called? The Eagles-Cowboys game?
I do. That's actually my third and final play here. I'm taking the Cowboys minus 3.5. I know I believe I bet the Cowboys plus 3 in that first matchup, and that didn't hit. But I'm going back to it. Cowboys minus 3.5 as the last play. Jalen Hurts is not 100%. He got banged up, went to the locker room again. It was a concussion, but he's dealing with a deep knee contusion, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. He doesn't look good. He can't run. A.J. Brown can only bail him out so many times. And Dak looks like an MVP. Looks like an MVP out there. No, I don't want him to win, but you'd have to be living under a rock to not think that he's a top 3 or top 4 guy right now. So him and Brock Purdy both tied at 3-1 to win MVP. So I'm going with the hot team. I'm going with the Cowboys minus 3.5. So
I like it. Yeah, I haven't bet on it yet. I want to get in on that game just because it's the best game of the day. I don't know how much the market's overreacting to the most recent game, but Hurts injury is a real thing. And they just got their absolute teeth kicked in. It's hard to get that out of your head, but I just feel like anytime a team in the NFL is an awesome week or a shitty week, they kind of flip-flop the next week. Like rarely do you see a team look awesome multiple weeks or suck multiple weeks in a row.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, unless it's playoff time, then they're kind of finely tuned. You can put together 3 or 4 good weeks.
But yeah, I don't know. 49ers are a 10.5 point favorite this week. I kind of want to take that, but we already have our Brock Purdy bet, so I feel like they kind of go hand in hand. I don't. It's almost like double dipping a little bit.
Yeah, it's 10.5's a lot, especially because you saw the Seahawks put up so many points against the Cowboys. I think the 49ers defense is gettable, but their offense really is like a finely tuned machine. So maybe I might be betting the over in that one actually. But I don't have
46.
Yeah, right around there. That is not in the 6-pack though. So let me quickly recap these, and then we can go back into NFL. We have Bucks money line plus 110, Bills money line plus 105, Cowboys to cover 3.5 at minus 110, and then Slade has the Army Navy under 28, Colts plus 1.5, Texans minus 3.5, all at minus 110. So check out our Twitter; it'll be updated on there. We'll tweet them out like we always do. And yeah, best of luck with that. But okay, you wanna keep going through the games here?
Which ones have we not hit on?
Jaguars,
Jags, Browns. The Browns game is going to be at C.J. Beathard versus Browning. I know Lawrence practiced, but I doubt they play him, right?
He looked decent. He looked like he was throwing passes in practice today. I feel like he could just they're just going to say stay in the pocket and throw it in the ground if you have to.
If C.J. Beathard isn't starting, then I'm boycotting that game.
If C.J. Beathard isn't starting that game, the Browns are losing. So it flipped from Jaguars minus 3 to Browns minus 3.5. If Lawrence ends up playing, it's probably going to be closer to a pick 'em in the morning, but this is huge for the Browns to make the playoffs. I kind of wanted to bet them to make the playoffs. It's around like minus 140. I want to know your thoughts on that. They're sitting there in the second wild card spot. They have 7 wins, and they're going to need 10 to get into the playoffs.
Who?
The Browns.
Oh.
Their remaining schedule, they have the Jags. They have the Bears at home. At the Texans. Home against the Jets. And then at the Bengals. So that's why this game against the Jags is super critical. If they can win this, then they just have to go 2-2 against the Bears.
You guys are going to be like favored in 2, underdogs in 2, and a pick 'em in 1. Out of the last 5. It's kind of crazy.
I know.
Basically, it's going to come down to if your quarterback can give you anything. If Flacco can give you anything. If he's a negative, I don't think you're beating the Bears unless Fields just turns it over like 4 times. Because I don't think our defense is bad enough anymore because we're healthy and we got guys like Brisker back. But you might not score more than 10, and the Bears do score points.
The Bears have a top 10 defense the last 4 or 5 weeks. So
if you take out the month of September, the Bears' stats as a team are actually pretty good. It's probably a good thing that they gave all those away, but yeah, they're not as bad as their record.
So they have, who do they have this week? They have the
Lions.
The Lions. Lions laying 3 on the road. What are your thoughts on that game?
I that one's tough because we saw them have that big lead, control the game, and then blow it all in 4 minutes at Detroit. Now you get them at home. You would like to think, like, you can make a case that the Bears can win that game, but at the same time, you're asking me to bet on a team that just kind of got morally, not more, what's the word I'm looking for? They got, I don't know. They just had losing DNA. Like, and I just don't trust them.
Yeah.
Like, they got emotionally just like torn apart at the end of that Lions game. It was pathetic.
The Lions, I don't know if you caught any of the game last week, but they got off to a huge lead against the Saints and then looked horrible the rest of the game. So I don't know. This is just a really big game coming up for the for what is it, the NFC North. Like, if you look at the standings right now, Lions are 9-3, Vikings 6-6, Packers 6-6. So Vikings and Packers, if they rip off a couple wins and the Lions lose this game, it's gonna come down to week 17 probably. Another game that I like, Rams plus 7.5 against the Ravens. I know I put in our 6-pack that the Rams to make the playoffs, and you kind of said, like, how about we wait until after the Ravens game? I actually think the Rams are live in this game. I think 7.5 is way too much. I might sprinkle a little on the money line if I'm feeling a little frisky, but I do think 7.5 is a lot. If you can get that hook at 7.5, I do not.
I got it this morning.
Yeah,
I got it this morning. That was before I saw the news about Lamar possibly being ill. So that made me feel a little better about my play. Obviously, he's got plenty of time. 72 hours? No, not 72. 48 hours or so to get back. But yeah, I agree with you. 7.5 is a great number to bet. And the Rams, when they have their starting quarterback, Matthew Stafford, they are not bad. They're an above 500 caliber team with them.
They just need Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua to stay healthy, essentially, and then they're good. And Kyron Williams has been great for them out of nowhere. So Sean McVay set some pretty good game plans, and I think that they can come up with a pretty good way to stop the Ravens, especially if they kind of like focus on like getting away from their stars. So like try to get Kyle Hamilton and Roquan Smith to one side of the field and run to the other way. And I also think on offense, it's a little bit easier to stop them when they don't have Mark Andrews. Isaiah Likely is their backup, and he's okay. He's going to run the same routes. I just don't think he's going to get open or have that yards after catch like Andrews would have. So I think their offense is a little bit limited for the short term. Other games we haven't talked about, Raiders, Vikings. I don't really have much to say about this. I think Josh Dobbs sucks, so I'd rather bet the Raiders, but I'm staying away from this.
So I'm not going to say who this is, but I just received an anonymous text message.
Yeah.
And it's about the Iowa game.
Mm-hmm.
It says, Iowa sucks, Dix blows, Sanford always does something stupid. And then 20 minutes later, can this team be any more soft? Holy fuck, they suck. Play like scared little pussies. I'm not going to say who that was, but yikes. Iowa's down 20 at halftime.
Whoever that was, because of you, I now have to mark this episode as explicit, but that's okay.
Good.
We mark them all that way anyway. If you're listening in this, Brady Ellingson, if you're listening to this with Sophia in the car, I apologize. Earmuffs.
Yeah, earmuffs. You're right. You're right. Oh, dude, they fouled Sanford on a chuck up 3-pointer right before half. I don't know about you, but I know you don't watch a ton of basketball, but there's nothing that makes me that just like pisses me off more than when my team fouls a 3-point shooter. Like, just stay on the ground. I hate when they do that and they get caught up in the air and then they do that little lunge into you and then they get 3 free points.
Yeah, it's such an easy way, especially like if you're like trying to go on a run, it's such an easy way for like if they get fouled and make 3 free throws, it can like calm them down, and like it's basically like a little timeout within the game. So yeah, it's That's frustrating for sure. Have you ever hit a 4-point play in your basketball career?
Dude, I can count the number of 3-point plays I had on one hand. I don't know.
I'm just messing with you. All right. I think we just have a couple more games, then we can talk some baseball, I think. All right. So next up we have Chargers Broncos. I'm gonna be heading back to SoFi for the second week in a row. My brother's flying in town, and he's a big Justin Herbert fan, so we'll be at this game. Chargers are -3 at home. It seems like a lot considering their offense can't do anything against the Patriots. They looked horrible. I know the Patriots D has a little bit of juice, but man, if Keenan Allen gets shut down by Patrick Surtain, I do not know how the Chargers are going to score in this game. So,
completely agree. They scored 6 points against the Pats. They won 6-0. Justin Herbert, the best quarterback ever, basically plays Big Ten West football. I wish Justin.
1 second. All right, I'm just gonna go straight back into this. I have I'll try to edit that out so you can't hear my dog barking. But
yeah,
I have
your dog cut me off about. I must have been talking too much about Justin Herbert.
Yeah, whatever. That's the end of that. I have a quick little side story. So the door or I got home from work yesterday. It's around like 5:30 or so, and I have the mail service dropping a package off at my place. And it's this package from China. It says like assorted fruit basket. And I'm like, I didn't order this. Turns out that the people who lived at my apartment, whoever sent it to them, their parents, grandparents, whatever, for the holidays, they sent it to their old address. So I'm like, I don't want this. Like, you can send it back to United States Postal Service. Like 5 minutes after they leave, the old tenants of the apartment knock on my door and ask me if I've seen a package. I was like, I just got rid of that. Sorry. And I was like, but I'll give you my number, and if something happens, like, I'll give you a call or whatever. So the package just got re-delivered right now. They live down in Orange County, which is like 45 minutes away with traffic over an hour. And I gave that guy my number, and I told him to call me, so I have his number, and he never did. So I have no contact info, and I just have this box. Isn't that crazy?
Well, I ordered some things too, and I got the email that it's been delivered, but I haven't seen it. So I'll have to do some looking around, maybe check the Ring camera, see if we got robbed again. As you know, I was robbed last year. You know, it happens. That's why Ring exists.
I was robbed in person in an Aldi parking lot at one point. I know exactly what it feels like to be robbed. Really? No, remember that story? This guy peer pressured me into giving him $20, and he wouldn't get out of my face. I was like, just take this and don't ever talk to me.
Just take this money, get the fuck out of here.
All right. So anyway, that is side story there. NFL, all we have left really are the Monday night games. Titans, Dolphins, Packers, Giants. Both games totally suck. The Packers are going to win. I think the Packers, they're 6.5-point favorites. You can tease them down because the Giants are starting to veto. The Titans, Dolphins, I don't really have any thoughts on that. Dolphins will probably
it's like a 13-point spread, and it's probably still not enough.
Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. And that was talking NFL for this week. So, what is it?
Should we talk some NBA?
Sure. What you got?
The Bucks just lost the Bucks just lost in the in-season tournament to the Pacers. Tyrese Halliburton, since we've been talking Iowa State hoops, Tyrese Halliburton is damn good. He might be top 10, 15 player in the league. He's on a different planet the last few weeks. He was talking shit to the Bucks and then backed it up. His stats lately have been nuts. I know he already kind of got a bag like a year or two ago, but when he hits free agency in his upper 20s again, he's going to get a bag.
Yes.
So the Pacers won that Sabonis trade. I know the Kings, it worked for them too, but I would rather have Halliburton any day.
Let me just also say, if you are an individual living in Davenport, Iowa, and you want to become a flat out rich millionaire, your best chance is to marry an NBA basketball player. There's been one person in the recent future who is well on her way to doing that with Halliburton. So I just wanted to hat tip her. All credit to her for that. So enjoy that life.
Congrats. Yep.
Did you see the over-under for this game was like one of the highest in NBA history? It was like 158.5.
I think it went under.
It did go under. I think it was
barely.
Like 150s, low 150s. So
yeah, I think it was 128 to 119. So finished at what, 157?
Yeah.
So just under. Damn. Yeah, that's talking NBA.
147. That's 147.
Oh, 147.
Or 247.
And that's shit. And that's talking NBA.
Yeah, okay, that was fun. We'll be back. We'll be back for the Christmas games.
Oh, also, I hope the Lakers lose in this tournament, because the last thing we need is, I've already had a LeBron fan text me and say that this in-season tournament counts as a ring.
I don't even want to talk about that. That's so dumb. Talking NBA though, I am next Thursday. I'm going to the Warriors at Clippers game. So
that's fun.
Maybe you'll have a little bet on that. I can tweet out on the pod. But
I'll take the Clippers money line.
If you're interested in Clippers tickets, just on a normal night, I think they play the Kings like 2 days before. The get-in price is like $12. So
I heard, it's free to get in, but it's $20 for a cheese and pretzel.
Yeah, that and the parking's insane. The Rams Browns, I paid $105 to park. It was ridiculous. So hopefully I can find a different place this weekend.
You might have set a world record for most amount of money spent to watch a non-Ravens Joe Flacco. The most amount of parking money spent to watch a non-Ravens Joe Flacco.
I was going to say, because I just bought, my tickets are only $70, which wasn't bad. But yeah, my Bo Nix rushing prop that I hit for 30 units. I spent a few units on parking, so happens. You want to talk a little MLB free agency?
Yes. So I guess the biggest thing to come out of winter meetings was the Juan Soto trade.
Mm-hmm.
He only has 1 year left on his deal, so it is a rental. The Yankees did give up quite a bit, more than I would want the Cubs to give up. But I do think the Yankees are the only team that would get a Soto and pay him over value by considerably to get him to stay long term, because Soto is represented by Scott Boras, and the only way a Boras client is going to hit, or is not going to hit, free agency is if they get just a really dumb extension offer. And so who would do that besides the Mets or the Yankees? Probably no one. The Dodgers want to do that. They don't need him, but they want to do that. Red Sox, neither. So it left like two teams. So as someone who thinks that Juan Soto is a perfect fit for the 2025 Cubs, I'm a little nervous, but I still think it's a greater than 50% chance he hits the true free agency and tests the market. And then we'll see. But yeah, no Ohtani signing. Sounds like it's going to be this weekend. Who knows? It's been kind of a circus. It's kind of annoying. It's made me not like Ohtani as much, which sucks because he is the most talented player we've probably seen in our lifetime that hasn't taken steroids.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. He's just an odd cat. Like, he doesn't want to do anything in the media. And trust me, I'm all fuck the media, but like if the Cubs got him, he like wouldn't even do like a marquee segment once in a while, or be interviewed, or like want to do anything that involves interacting with the fans. And yeah, how you play in the field matters way more, but like also it's just kind of weird. I don't know. Like, can you imagine if like Tom Brady just like was like, I'm not going to talk to the media?
They're not asking Ohtani, to do anything special. It's just like, just come talk to us for a few minutes.
He wouldn't even tell people the name of his dog.
Yeah.
Like, they said that part of the reason he may not pick the Cubs is that when you are a player for the Cubs, and since it's in the neighborhood, like the way the stadium is built, there's like a parking lot with like a short walk to the like clubhouse and like their entrance. So like fans will stand there and like yell and wave and like do autographs and stuff. He doesn't want to have to deal with that like short walk from where he parks to the stadium. And like with the Angels and the Dodgers, he can like pull like underground and like not and just be like in a tinted out car with a driver that takes him.
Yeah.
He like
We
doesn't
should
want to do anything with fans.
we
It's
should we
weird.
should offer up a 2-man operation where he gets ready to park, but then we switch cars and I park his car for him and you drive him in a tinted out thing and like take him as close as possible. That's the best we can offer for 81 home games.
Yeah, it's just he's weird, man. Like he basically plays by his own set of rules with like the organization. Like he's only allowed to be interviewed after games he starts. And since he got hurt and didn't start like after mid-August, he hasn't talked to the media since August 9th. How can you win an MVP award and be a free agent and play 2 seasons of Major League Baseball and not get interviewed or have one single quote? It's weird.
That's hard to do.
So yeah. I don't know. It's a problem for a lot of these big markets that are like viewing him as like, oh, we're gonna make all this money off of him. Well, you might not make as much if he won't go do your local radio hit, or he won't make this appearance with a sponsor that's willing to pay you $50 million. Like if he's not willing to play that game a little bit, because like I said, the Cubs or any of these teams aren't going to ask him to do a whole lot, then like you're not going to get as much money back as like what's like expected. So I don't know.
So
are there any moves?
It sounds like the Cubs are out on Ohtani. It's going to be someone that is.
I think he's staying in Los Angeles.
The Dodgers, Angels, Blue Jays, maybe the Giants, but I do think he ultimately stays in LA too.
Which
I'm going to go with the Dodgers though.
I
think it's going to be the Dodgers. I think he wants to win. If he doesn't want to win, whatever. I don't know.
If he stays with the Angels, he might as well just say that he is soft.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like that's just saying I'm comfortable and I don't want to change and I don't care about winning. Just pay me and I will hide in one of the most irrelevant markets in the whole league. That's what he's saying.
Yeah. So be it. It's his choice, I guess. So with
watch
the Cubs
him try to get an opt-out after a year.
That'd be crazy.
Then we're doing all this again next year.
He should just do this every single year for like the next 10 years and just keep signing with the same team. So with the Cubs out on Ohtani, they're kind of going to have to shift their focus a little bit. I haven't really been reading up much on this, but with Soto now going to the Yankees, where do you think Cody Bellinger ends up? I still don't think it's going to be the Cubs, but I think his landing spot of the Yankees is no longer a thing.
Yeah, I think the Yankees made it slightly more possible he goes back to the Cubs, but the Giants, I would say, are the most likely. They need a center fielder. They need a star. They're the team that has all the money but hasn't been able to ultimately land anyone. Like they had the money to pay Judge last year. They had the money to like make all of these pitchers offers. They just are kind of always finishing in like second or third.
And they had Correa too.
Yeah, and then the physical fell through. Yeah. So they've wanted to spend. They just haven't been able to get it done for random reasons. I don't know if Cody Bellinger reaches the status of like superstar. So like if that's your goal is to like get a superstar, I don't know if he's the guy. Like I like Cody a lot. He's just not who I would consider one of the top 10, 20 faces of the sport. So I could see that, or the Blue Jays, because if they don't get Ohtani, then you lost out on Soto, who is kind of their backup plan. Bellinger might be a plan C. I think the Cubs would only be interested in Bellinger if everything else kind of fell through and they can get him at a discount. His asking price is ridiculous. I don't think he's necessarily as good or can be counted on to do what he did last year every year. Makes me a little nervous. Yeah, I mean, at this point, it seems like Rhys Hoskins and Tyler Glass now are still the most likely to happen. But I'm trying to hold out hope that they can pull a big trade that we don't see coming, because I don't think they're going to get Yamamoto either. I think he's going to the Mets.
Yeah, I saw that the Mets owner flew out to Japan like a week and a half ago or something. So that's probably just a matter of time. They'll get us $300 million there, which it's insane. But there's no starting pitchers really hit free agency at 25. So what's up with
$300 million for a guy who's never pitched is insane. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah. What's up with Bryce Harper wanting an extension when he's already signed through his age 38 season? That's just totally taking advantage of a franchise. It's pretty sad, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's really shitty, in my opinion. I mean, what does he think they're going to do? Extend him to 42?
I don't know, but honestly,
300. Like, his contract is good for the Phillies, I guess, but still 8 years. That's the whole Jason Hayward contract.
Yeah, honestly, since he's kind of disrespecting them, they should punish him by shipping him to the Cubs. Honestly, I feel like that's the only solution. He has a dog named Wrigley, whatever. Yeah. Okay.
I agree. It's only fair.
Yep. I saw there were some rumors going on today about the Cubs and Guardians potentially being in on a trade. So the Guardians are looking to well, first of all, the Guardians just landed the number 1 overall pick somehow, so that's pretty exciting for their franchise. But they have Emmanuel Clase, their closer, who's probably top 3 in the game, arguably. Shane Bieber, starting pitcher, who's won a Cy Young, and then he's won a Cy Young, right? I believe so.
Bieber, yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, he might have 2, or is it Kluber who has 2?
Kluber won 2. Bieber won in 2020 in the COVID year. That was him and Bauer.
Okay.
And then also, did you see Josh Naylor could potentially be in the works in that trade?
The Cubs and the Guardians line up really well for a trade. The Cubs would absolutely be a perfect fit for Jose Ramirez, but I mean, you can say that about a lot of teams. He fits in a lot of places. It's not going to happen unless he forces it. But man, there's a lot of players that there's a lot of players that the Cubs match up well with. Obviously, Clase, their closer. Naylor's interesting. I don't know if he'd be my top pick, but I don't know. He'd almost be like a platoon, I'm guessing.
Yeah. I think he has value just because he hasn't hit his arbitration yet, and he was coming off a good year. So it's kind of, you have some control with him, and he's also a dude that like plays with it all out there on the field. And I think that Wrigley would love that. Get some passion out there. So pause. Okay. Sorry again for the interruption. I just have people knocking at my door left and right here. But I guess we are waiting for one thing. Our official pop culture and sports correspondent, Olivia Davis. I feel like I just got stood up on a first date. Like, she said that she was available between 5 and 7 tonight. It's her first time being on the pod. We're excited. We got some questions ready for her. And she's pretty much just ghosted us. So, yeah. If she ends up getting back to us, I'm going to stitch this and add it on to the end of this pod. But if not, then I guess I'm just going to look silly talking about this.
If she doesn't respond or get back to you or join the pod, we're never talking to her ever again.
Yeah. I think you have to stand up for yourself at a certain point, and that's
at some point you have to have respect and realize that not everything has to be a one-way street. You know, like, she asks you for favors all the time, and what do? You do it. You ask her for one thing and she doesn't. So that's our life lesson of the week. Have some respect for yourself and know when to walk away.
Yeah. I cannot think of a better way to end the show. That was extremely well spoken, my friend.
I've had a lot of life experience.
Yep. Well, I hope that you enjoy the rest of your night watching Iowa State as they're down 18 at the break.
They're
Hopefully
down
they
20
can.
now, so
They're down
yeah.
20. Okay. Hopefully they can get that close, but I doubt it. I think it's going to be a long year for the Hawks. I know our friends Nicholas Bear and Charlie Rose, on their 3 Points podcast we've plugged a couple times. They put out a preview for this game and kind of recap the season. I thought that was a good 25, 30-minute long pod that kind of gave good summary of what's been going on with the program. I know they're going to be coming out with some more pods in the future, so be sure to check that out to see your daily dose of the Hawks. But if this is it for this episode, I'm gonna end it here. Otherwise, maybe I'll stitch on the part with Olivia if she gets back to us. But hope you guys have a good weekend. Enjoy betting on some sports. Be responsible. But if we don't talk to you later, we will catch you guys next time. This has been another episode of Bet GPT. Thanks. All right, so if you're still listening to the pod, we have secured Olivia Davis. She's our pop culture and sports official advisor, consultant, contributor, whatever you want to call her. So Liv, you we thought you ghosted us. We thought we were ready for a 5:00 start, and now it's 6:03, and you finally got back to us. What have you been up to today?
Well, first of all, I didn't receive a 5:00 call. I was waiting for the people on your team to contact the people on mine, but apparently an elusive Gmail message is all I got. But I've been working, I'm an attorney. Life's hard over here.
Did you put any bad guys away today?
Every day is a step towards that mission.
So you are a recent Pepperdine Law graduate. You just passed the bar exam. That's very exciting. You're a very successful young woman. What, I guess, motivated you to come on Bet GPT? What can you bring to the table for us?
Honestly, I'm not sure how much I can.
For all the YouTube listener or viewers, if you want to see an attractive girl, you can come watch the podcast if you're sick of looking at guys. So that's definitely one thing you bring. But also, come on, your parents are season ticket holders for the Padres. You know a lot about the Padres. You can name every player on the team. You do know a lot about NFL quarterbacks. You know the pop culture aspect of Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. So that's what we're going into. So you know a lot. You're valuable. You just gotta be confident, okay? And is this your first podcast appearance ever?
This is my first podcast appearance.
Okay. Well, if you can talk on a Teams meeting at work, you can do this. It's no different. So.
Oh yeah, I'm a pro at that.
Exactly.
For sure.
Exactly. All right. So first and foremost, let's talk Juan Soto trade. Like I mentioned a second ago, your parents are season ticket holders. You've gone to several Padres games this year. Rumor has it that Cutwater is only $5 before the game. I know you're a big advocate of that. So what did you think of the Juan Soto trade? Did you like it? Who do you think won that trade? Just what are your thoughts on it?
First of all, I have to clarify that although I've been to several games this season, there's at least a few that I never made it to my seats for. So there's something to be said for that. The Cutwaters really take priority here. But Juan Soto, I think in the long run, this is the right move. I think he was eating up a lot of money on our roster, and given the position that we're in with pitchers, the long game is to acquire more of those, especially with the potential loss of Snell and the probable loss of Hader. So, it's a bummer. He's a great batter, obviously. Put some pressure on some of the other batters to perform more, like Bogarts. Got to step up. But I think that in the long run, getting some more pitchers on our roster is the right move.
Yeah,
well said.
I totally agree with that, and I'm glad you brought up Blake Snell because he's most likely gone. Slade, do you know of any places where or teams that are interested in Snell? Is that like I don't even know. Is it he's probably going to the AL?
He's waiting for Ohtani to sign, so then he knows what his market is. But I think he wants to stay on the West Coast. I think he's a West Coast guy. I'm not sure.
Gotcha. Maybe the Giants could be in play for them. We were just talking about how they have a lot of money saved up for people.
All I know is it's not the Cubs, so that's all that matters.
If it's not the Cubs, we don't care. Next.
Ooh.
All right. Let's switch over to football here. So Joe Burrow on Monday Night Football was like 3 or 4 weeks ago, went down with the wrist injury. I know you're a big Joey B fan. What are your thoughts on the Bengals season? Do you think Burrow will be back healthy next year? You think he's okay?
I think his spirits are a little down. I think he's bummed to be sitting on the sidelines. It's sad to see him sad. I just feel emotionally connected with his game, obviously. So, yeah, I'm hoping that he makes a full recovery and he's back. As for the status of the Bengals season, can't say I know what they're up to.
The answer is not a lot. They won their last game, but really, that's really not a team. They're very dependent on Joe Burrow, as is any team with any star QB.
If there's one thing Liv brings to our podcast, it's honesty.
Yep. She's not going to BS anything. You're just going to get the truth from her. Yep.
Right.
I'm not here to lie.
Is he better looking than Jimmy G?
Yes.
Oof. Okay.
Yeah.
Jimmy GQ.
But leading into our next segment, isn't that crazy? I just did the transition for you.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the man's man, Travis Kelce.
The man's man is kind of overtaking in the eyes of women. He's kind of overtaking the classic pretty boy aesthetic that Joe Burrow has to offer. So thanks to Miss Swift, we are in our man's man era. We're all out here looking for a Travis Kelce. And, the Joe Burrows of this world are on the back burner for a second.
That's true. So do you think that is their relationship legitimate? Are they actually looking to, be married a few years? I don't know their timeline, but are they an actual candidate for each other to be married?
Will she change her name to Taylor Kelce?
Yes. So I haven't been able to personally ask them what their plans for marriage are.
Yeah.
So I can't speak to that.
You tried.
Yeah, obviously. Why don't you just call Taylor up? Yeah. I do think though that they're moving along quite well. She has been consistently attending the Chiefs games. In fact, I don't know if you guys saw her clap back at the men that have had some negative things to say about her presence on their football.
This way, Slade. Yep.
Yeah. The dads, Brads, and Chads can all go suck it, is basically what she said. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. Also, what's the issue with her boosting NFL viewership? Why do you guys have hate when she's boosting jersey sales? She's boosting viewership. She's boosting followers. Like, come on now. She has a lot to offer. This question's directed at you, Slade. Number one hater.
I'm not a hater. I'm mad at Swiftie fans. No, Swiftie fans were saying that Travis wasn't good enough, and I was saying that he is good enough. That's how this all started. You guys were all like, oh, she deserves better than Travis. He's not famous enough. And now they're all, oh, we're in our Travis Kelce era. Oh, I want a guy who wears flannels and has a beard and does manual labor.
First of all,
2 years from now, you'll be like, that was that phase. Ugh. What was that?
I have 2 comments in response to that. One, who speaks in that tone? It's not me or any other woman that I know. Number 2, I have not heard any woman complain.
It was when it first happened.
Okay, for like 5 minutes in the beginning? I feel like you've been holding on to that for months. It's time to let it go.
When do I talk about Taylor Swift ever? Unless it's to you guys.
That's the issue. We opened episode 22. I said, this is the Taylor Swift episode as a play on the number 22. And you were just mute. You had nothing to say. And that's just negative. You need to be team girl, Slade.
if you go back and listen to our audio when this like first came out, which I don't know what the episode number is, but I'm pretty sure it was me just talking about Taylor Swift fans ripping Travis Kelce, and I kept saying he's the greatest tight end of all time.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of appreciation for him out there, and
I'm glad he deserves it. Coiner's the Travis Kelce hater. That's the funniest part about all this. He hates him. Coiner hates him. I've liked him for years. I'm the one getting a bad rep.
I don't like him as a player on the field, but I am a fan of any man that treats a woman the right way. So leave it at that.
Yeah. Dang, that was a good segment.
Thanks. Yeah, so Liv, we appreciate having you on. Anytime there's a need for a pop culture segment, we'd be happy to have you on. Hopefully, you can grace us with your presence again, and it doesn't. We don't have like a fake ghosting type event happen again. Hopefully, we can get you right away.
Yeah, maybe if you guys are lucky, I'll become like a series regular.
Yeah. I would have no complaints with that. Slade might, but I will have no complaints with that.
Slade's face,
no comment. I'm gonna get pushed out. I'm gonna be the guest soon, if that's the case.
This is just gonna turn into a pop culture podcast, me and Livy, and then you are like coming in for like one sports segment a month.
I come in, I do my gambling plays, and you guys just start talking about other things.
Exactly.
Yeah, that sounds like a move.
Yep. All right. Well, Liv, we appreciate having you on. We'll hopefully have you on in the near future. And Slade, once again, great podcast, my friend. Follow us on Twitter at BetGPT Podcast. Tell your friends, like and subscribe on the YouTube. We're on Apple and Spotify. And be sure to follow our Six Pack Plays on the Twitter. So, enjoy your weekend, everybody. This has been another episode of BetGPT. Thanks.